In today's video, we're diving into all things pre-construction. We'll start by uncovering the mysteries behind pre-con pricing, then move on to discussing whether investing in pre-con makes sense. Be sure to stick around as we reveal the hidden fees and costs involved. And is pre-con a smart investment or a risky liability? Find out our thoughts on this. Also, we'll discuss why 2024 might not be the ideal year for pre-con investments. Lastly, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and a summary. So let's jump right in.
Even if the market turned, even if you were going to lose money, you have the opportunity to sell, minimizing your losses. Here's what you need to know about the pre-construction market in the GTA if you're looking to invest. I've been at this for 15 years, and one of the first deals I ever did was a pre-construction deal. At the time, I started understanding really like pre-construction could be a great deal, and this is what was really perpetuated to me. It was like, this is the best deal possible, you know, you're getting ahead of everyone else, and therefore there's a natural price appreciation that you can expect. And that made sense to me. And at the time, I would say that the deals we got were actually deals. It was awesome. You know, we bought something ahead of everyone else, and there was, you know, first phase, second phase, third phase. By the time you got into the third phase, my clients were already 50 up. I mean, relative to what people paid for the same unit that they bought, let's say 2, 3, 4 months ago. So that's great. The problem started arising as I was kind of developing my career, let's say 5, 6 years into it. I started noticing that pre-construction wasn't as lucrative as it once was. And oftentimes I would come to the conclusion that they were not. So I thought I'd do a video where I describe exactly what you need to understand about pre-construction properties and why right now pre-construction is probably the worst investment you can make, and in my opinion will be for the next 12 months at least, if not longer. Pre-construction ultimately is supposed to be a deal. So you got VIP pricing by top brokers, meaning brokers or agents who have worked with the builder, so the builder gives them priority previews. And then after that, you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, maybe a tower went up, they're selling the second tower now, wonderful. What does all this mean? So first and foremost, you need to understand that that small set of people that are buying on preview pricing are given priority access because they may have sold for that builder in a previous project. Great, but how many units are allocated to them? Well, not the entire project, a subset and a small one at that. That means anyone who's buying after that, let's say in phase 1, 2, or 3, is likely buying it at an appreciated price. They've marked it up, right? That's why the VIP people will preach we're getting the best deals. But the easiest way for you as an end user, a consumer, even if you're a first-time buyer, not an investor, looking at pre-construction, for you to understand whether it's a deal or not, it's a simple thing you need to think about. The price that I see on this price sheet, is it at, higher, or lower than what I can go buy something for today? Let's talk about, first of all, why pre-construction is good. Sometimes people buy pre-construction because they simply want it. The only other time where you should actually consider pre-construction is perhaps you don't have a job right now, but you have some money that's coming in, so it's phased out. Because typically with pre-construction, you don't pay out the 20% immediately. It's on a payout schedule. So usually it's X amount of dollars, typically $5,000 for the first 30 days to secure the deal. After the first 30 days, you need to have 5% of the purchase amount, so on and so forth. Depending on the market timing, different developers will offer different payout schedules to kind of appeal to the demographic they're trying to sell to. 2 reasons. You love the project or the builder, and the second reason, you just can't get a mortgage right now. You don't want one, you can't get one, you don't have all the money up front, so therefore pre-construction is a viable option. So what are some of the risk factors of pre-construction, or some of the things that are kind of not talked about but you should know? Well, for one, they call them hidden fees, but they're not really hidden. They're just part of a huge stack of contracts, and none of us really like to read disclaimers. Typically there's levies, or let's just call them costs, and they always happen at the tail end, right? So at the tail end, when you're about to get the keys to this brand new place you bought, if you're lucky 3 years ago, sometimes they extend 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there's all these little levies, and they can add up if you don't cap them. So it might be 10,000, might be 5,000, might be 15,000. You need to understand what your costs are. Then there's this thing called the interim occupancy fee. Without getting into too much detail, basically what that is that you're paying rent to the developer. You're doing this until the developer can register the building or make it exist as far as the city is concerned. This phase can last anywhere from 3 months to 5 months to 8 months, I've seen. And naturally, that is money that's not recoverable. Again, money you need to calculate into your cost, your upfront cost. You can't get that back. The other thing you need to understand is assignment, which a lot of investors are concerned with, right? They buy it today thinking they're gonna sell it, let's say 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. Some developers allow assignment, some developers don't. So what's assignment? Assignment is basically exactly what it says. You're assigning the contract that you committed to today to someone else at a later date. Now developers typically allow for this. However, they always have little fine prints to kind of protect themselves. One of the common fine prints is you can't assign until 6 months before occupancy. So now you know some of the fees associated when you're actually taking the leap of purchasing pre-construction. So once you've understood all those fees and the costs associated with your deposit, you understand how much money you need upfront, or let's say over the first 12 months to secure that pre-construction investment. But let's talk about whether it's an investment or not. When it comes to me, I look at investments on ROI or return on investment perspective, right? If I'm just strictly looking at numbers, am I actually getting good value and am I gonna make a return on the money I'm spending? I mean, if I'm not, then how is that an investment? Unless I'm only looking at it from a, aesthetic, or I just like it, and I said right at the beginning, that's one of the reasons you could choose to buy a pre-construction project. You just like the project. It has nothing to do with money, right? But if you're the type of investor or even first-time buyer who's looking to purchase something and make money on your money, then you take all the costs we just talked about, literally write them down, and then weigh it against if you bought something on the resale market today, would you have a better investment in hand, or would it be a worse investment? Or would it be on par? Give yourself the opportunity to actually explore those options, and that'll give you very good insight as to whether that particular pre-construction opportunity is actually an opportunity or a trap. So let's talk about why I don't think pre-construction is a good investment in the next 0 to 12 months and probably even longer than that. Right now, if you look at a price sheet for pre-construction, it's almost certain that whatever price they're offering you that unit at, you can find the equivalent unit. And I mean literally the same or greater square footage, parking, locker, same area, for less. I'm talking about $100,000, $200,000 less. So a significant sum of money. And in a market like right now, where rents, while they were at their peak, are also coming down a little bit, and interest rates are where they are, which means your carrying cost, the cost for you to actually carry the property, the mortgage on the property, is at its peak. It's really hard to find condos that break even, right? So you get enough rent to cover all your costs. It's very challenging. And now I just told you that pre-construction that you're looking at, it's more than likely this year that most of the launches are gonna have prices that are higher than the resale value. So what you're doing is committing yourself to a property that you can buy today, right now, today, tomorrow, whenever, right? But you're gonna get this thing in 3 years' time, in 4 years' time, if you're lucky, maybe 5 years' time. Because by the way, the developer also in the fine print reserves the right to basically extend their timeline on the project almost indefinitely, multiple times without giving you so much as a good reason why they're doing this. Whereas with a resale property, even if the market turned, even if you were gonna lose money, you have the opportunity to sell, minimizing your losses. The resale market is a better avenue to explore than the pre-construction market for that very simple reason. It's priced lower. So if you're watching this, here's what you should take away. Pre-construction is not always a bad deal. It makes sense for several reasons. If your reasons are, I love the project, I love the builder, or maybe I don't have the opportunity right now to get a mortgage. So you go for that project. Great, good for you, no problem. But if you're the type of investor or even first-time buyer who's looking at pre-construction as an opportunity, this is not the year. And it may not come back for another 2 years. So if you're looking for pre-construction as an opportunity this year, I hope this video has been useful and giving you some insights so you can make the best informed decision possible for yourself. So if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and look at the description below for more information. We hope to see you on the next one.